Hello, I'm looking to speak to Sergeant Ray. He left me a voicemail. He said maybe if you press four, you can patch him through. That's just what he said in the voicemail.
Sure. Can I get your name?
My name's Syran Warner.
Okay, just one moment, please.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for holding. Let me transfer you to him. Just a moment, please.
Thank you.
Sergeant Ray.
Hey, Ray, Sergeant Ray. This is Syran. I just got your voicemail.
How are we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just working on some stuff at home.
So hey, I got forwarded, I guess an email that you sent out to Detective Kim regarding possible investigation with Shrable. So I read the email, and I also listened to the audio that you where you had the conversation with Detective Marchand.
Okay, I was curious who that was, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering in here. It says that I guess basically let me see. Documents from case number 1961 that's waiting for shouldn't have access to, but did, came from Terry Shrable. So you do understand that Terry Shrable was not working for the sheriff's office.
Yes.
During the incident that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been looking into this for months. I know that Shrable is no longer a deputy.
Yeah. So, one, I guess, let me ask you what makes you believe that Shrable provided documents from that case to Chris?
Well, okay, so we know definitely that Chris had documents from that case that he shouldn't have had, that he should not have had public access. There was no public access.
You're going to have to be more specific with me, Mr. Warner, about documents that he has.
He had a copy of like the forensic report from Spokane.
Okay.
And he shouldn't have.
No, how do you know he has a copy of the forensics?
Because it's in 01961.
Okay, so just because the information. So let me explain. I guess there is information, right, as far as certain reports or whatever that are open to public disclosure.
Yeah, a child's physical is not one of them.
Okay, but I checked with Miss Barker and records, and I'm not aware of any forensic. It's like that. Yes, that information is not released.
No, but he had it.
How do you know he had it?
Because you wrote about it and Merchant wrote about it.
I didn't write about it.
I think you might have put a sentence about it. Marchant put like multiple, and then Marchant called me about it.
I think what you're taking out of that report is that during a question with Christopher, he made reference back to that
to a report that he shouldn't have had access to.
He made reference back to that. He didn't understand why we were talking to him, that he thought all of this had been settled. What I told Detective Marchand at the time is that he needed to do some follow-up and clarify what he was talking about. Because it was kind of open-ended of, like, was he talking about the forensic interview in Spokane, or was he talking about, because I know he had several other run-ins as far as other issues not involving that issue. And I don't, from my understanding prior to Detective Marchand leaving, my understanding of that is that there was nothing that Christopher was basically not referring to the allegations out of Spokane.
But you don't even, I mean, honestly, like that Chris saying stuff from a forensics report that he may or may not have read, we'll say, that is not even close to like where, I mean, the real stuff about Shrable comes from 09630.
How I'm supposed to be looking at the fact of what you're saying that Shrable released information from Detective Marchand's case.
Well, Shrable was collaborating with Christopher Coombes. That's why.
Okay, but again, the email that I'm reading says that you're saying that he had documents.
I was not able to explain, like, yes, I have a lot of documents. Like, I wasn't able to make my case. I wrote a flippant email with a report from Alaska in it, because that would, you're missing the context here. Like, this is about, if you look at report number S2204930, that is Shrable's Mona Lisa. That's the report where it's like, oh, this guy, like, I've been investigating this group for over 7 years. That's
before.
Okay. I just don't remember.
Talk to you regarding a welfare check that you were requesting.
Oh, about Mark's mom.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, then we've spoken before, but I'm just saying that, like, the story that's told in 04930 S22, like, that's the same report. I got people telling me that story in 2020 in Australia. Like, this woman, Melissa Parker, flew all the way from New South Wales, Australia, to meet with Terry Shrable for this interview. That is unusual for somebody to visit from New South Wales, Australia, in Okanogan County. She visited him because, like, well, it was fixed.
And I'm sorry, run that case by me one more time. S22.
S2204930. I was off duty but assigned to a case. I checked with the ethics folks. I mean, this guy got subpoenaed 4 times and was still doing this.
Well, yeah, but he didn't meet with Chris on the 29th. It says
no. He met on the 3rd, and then again later on.
Met on the 2nd. Yeah, when he was on duty.
And Chris was using this stuff in his case that got dismissed.
They actually met here at the sheriff's office.
Yeah, there's no records of it though. Like, no records exist of any of these meetings. They meet multiple times. I talked to the ombudsman of the state of Washington about this, Morgan Damerow. None of the records that Shrable talks about, like, are there. There's nothing real tangible, but some paper copies of statements that these people, the Heseltines, made. I don't know why Shrable was interviewing them. I don't know why. I mean, the people Shrable talks to when he had Carrie's phone number the entire time, it's insane. It's literally, I mean, it's comical.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of his reports.
So I guess my question is like I'm trying to understand how this goes back to case number 01961.
It goes back to I guess like what I'm calling to report is that Terry Shrable was collaborating with a person named Christopher David Coombes, who is a child. Well, he's facing charges right now. He's about to go on trial for raping children. And Terry Shrable helped him from the probable cause affidavit, like through the entire process. Terry Shrable held Christopher Coombs' hand. Christopher Coombs was releasing these police reports in court. Listen to me, in court, he was releasing these documents and his case got dismissed. Like, luckily, there was some sanity. And Chris was arrested again on a different probable cause affidavit. You interviewed Chris that day. What I'm saying is that, like, Chris had help from the inside, definitely. I know this. The AG's office knows this. There's a reporter from Rolling Stone that knows this. Like, everybody's looking at Shrable. And I'm just telling you ahead of time that, like, we're looking at Shrable. Like, and he should be interviewed. He should be questioned. The evidence is overwhelming about Shrable. It is. I mean, this stuff is not.
I'll read through 4930.
Yeah.
But what I'm addressing at this point right now with you is the 1961.
And I'm addressing you. What I'm addressing with you is that, like, Shrable is a dirty cop who is working with a cult that is accused of sex abuse.
Department anymore.
I know, but he still lives in Okanogan County. He's still a police officer. He was under investigation when he released himself.
Not with us, he wasn't.
I got the file. It says he was under investigation. I don't know why maybe somebody clicked the wrong box.
Okay, I don't know that.
Well, maybe Beth clicked the wrong box or something, but it says he was under investigation and he's still a cop. He's on the Brady list.
No, well, that has nothing to do with him leaving.
It's got something to do, though, with the consensus opinion from investigators.
From the best of my knowledge, Terry Shrable left here on good terms.
It said irreconcilable differences from other officers. I have the report of his dismissal. Like, I'm a really, really talented reporter, and I have that fucking report.
Okay, well, he wasn't happy working here anymore, but that doesn't mean he was under investigation. He just was not happy with the administration anymore and decided to go to a different agency.
Well, the thing is that he was collaborating with Christopher Coombes, so maybe people had a problem with that, I guess. I guess Weigel probably would have had a problem with that.
That wasn't the issue. Nobody had an issue with Terry here.
So nobody had an issue with the fact that he was collaborating with Christopher Coombes. Nobody had a problem with that?
Well, you still haven't given me anything to other than.
Yeah, I got lots of stuff, man. Like, I mean, I have a lot. Like, if you want to hear it, I'll tell you all about it.
To say is that he's collaborating with them.
Yes.
So I don't, other than him, because as I'm talking to you, I'm kind of reading through this report, and basically from what I'm reading is basically he documented everything that he was told so far by Chris.
Totally outside of his jurisdiction. Okay, I'm just gonna just a hint here.
If Chris wants to come in and basically, because Chris is the one that filed a complaint, the complaint that you're talking about, the 4930, is Chris is the complainant.
It's a 22-page report.
Okay, regardless of how you feel about Chris.
It's not about how I feel about Chris. I'm a reporter.
So if he wants to report, what he feels is a crime.
Well, that's definitely not what he was doing. You think that's what Shrable was doing? He was off duty and assigned to the case.
Anybody else that has information.
He was off duty and assigned to that case.
The document.
He had been subpoenaed 4 times.
Information.
He'd been subpoenaed 4 times to testify against Chris. And administration said it was okay for him to do this, even though he'd been subpoenaed 4 times.
Run that by me one more time.
When Sergeant Shrable started reporting on this,
don't yell at me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just like this. I just get frustrated. That's my fault. Like when Shrable started his investigation, he had been subpoenaed to testify against Chris Coombes. And then in the middle of his investigation, he was subpoenaed by Chris Coombes to testify for him. These reports that Shrable wrote were introduced as evidence by Chris Coombes in court repeatedly, and his charges were dismissed.
Okay.
That's an issue. I mean, the same can be said about if you look at a different report, S22-07566, that's a report that's all about me and a conversation I had with a police officer in Alaska. And you know what it is? It's food for Chris Coombes's case. Like, that's what these reports are. These reports are meant to exist so that they can be introduced in court to get Chris Coombes off the hook. I'm positive I've literally heard these exact same stories before years ago. I was calling law enforcement saying that Terry Coombes and Chris Coombes had a kid and nobody could find it. And yes, that's what turned out to be the case. In another case in Okanogan County where they rescued a girl named Lily Faith Heseltine. Chris Coombes and his ex-wife Carrie Coombes have the last name Coombes. Heseltine is not their last name. That child was given. We know that from the police report. This is the kind of stuff that's going on. I've literally seen this before.
Okay, well, all that went through the court system, right?
No, the charges were dropped. Now Chris Coombes is facing child rape, which makes him collaborating with Detective or Deputy Shrable even worse.
That case is an open investigation, so I'm not going to discuss that case.
I don't want you to discuss it. You don't need to discuss anything. I'm just telling you what's going on.
Okay.
Like you don't need to. I know that there's shit you can't tell me. That's fine. You don't need to tell me anything. Like, what you need to do is pay attention to these documents, because this is.
And that's what I called you to find out, because in your email you said that.
I didn't send an email though that was supposed to be like read over. Like that was not like some definitive statement. It was like, hey, look at this police report from Alaska. Because this shit has been going on forever.
In this email, you say that he has the documents for this case.
Yes. Okay. A lot of these documents come from Alaska, though. I mean, that's something that I need to know. Is like, how much from Alaska are you allowed to look at?
Well, that you would have to talk to Alaska about that. I don't know what their public.
No, but I'm talking to you about like an active investigation into Mark Bissett. You were the point of contact for Mark Bissett. And I have that in case SS. You were the point of contact for Mark Bissett in S2207566. You were the point of contact. You called Deputy Ray, is what it was said to Mark Bissett.
S22 what?
S22-07566. You were the point of contact for Mark Bissett. And the email I sent has some documents about Mark Bissett from Alaska. We know who Mark Bissett is. You know who he is.
Where in?
It's at the end of the report. Let's talk to Sergeant Ray.
66. Am I correct? 7566?
7566 is what I have, yeah. Or wait.
And hey, and I'm sorry, man. Like every once in a while, your phone's cutting out, and I kind of lose you for a second.
I'm sorry, yeah. I apologize.
I keep missing some of it. Filing for the document. I don't think it's that case.
Maybe I got the wrong document. Is this the one about me, or is this the one about Mark calling to I mean, there's a lot of that. I have 760 court documents in my pinpoint. So it's possible it's the wrong case.
Yeah, I don't know why I would be labeled as a point of contact for.
Because you were. That's why. I mean, it says Deputy Ray. Mark told me he sent an email to Deputy Ray regarding threats. Deputy Ray, your name is over and over again. Deputy Ray, I advised Mark I would check with Deputy Ray for information in regards to the threats. This is, okay, it's a different case number. S22-05024. S22-05024. Mark told me he sent an email to Deputy Ray regarding the threats. Mark told me Ryan has an Instagram account and these are being posted. I advised Mark I would check with Deputy Ray. In regards to the threats, I spoke to Deputy Ray. Deputy Ray told me Mark sent emails. Ray, I mean, it's over and over again.
Yeah, and if you read it, the last sentence, it says Deputy Ray did not find any threats at this time.
Well, yeah, because there weren't any threats. But you've had contact with this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's real bad news. He's the worst thing in Okanogan County. It's organized crime.
I talked to his brother in Texas for your welfare check.
Steve
requested.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Just because that's my job. Is to contact.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Understand what the point is of me being a form of contact. And
I'm all okay. I wasn't.
Why I'm a point of contact is because I already. Yes, Mark Bishop called in a threats complaint that I was handling.
I know. Like, what I'm saying is, like, you know what the situation is that I'm calling about. Like, I don't know.
I know the.
It sounds crazy. Like this case.
And
you acknowledge that this case is unusual and that it sounds crazy when you like talk about it. Like it sounds fictional.
Okay, I'm not acknowledging anything.
Okay, you don't have to. I don't give a shit. Like the point is that Shrable did these folks a bunch of favors over and over and over again. He was subpoenaed. He never should have touched that file. He never should have touched the file again. By the time he was writing about me, he had been subpoenaed 4 times.
What is him being subpoenaed have anything to do with him being associated with?
Because it's an ethical catastrophe.
He's subpoenaed because of that. If he's subpoenaed, like I'm subpoenaed
because he was too involved with the first case. He wrote the probable cause affidavit.
Officer.
He wrote the probable cause affidavit that got Chris arrested on April 8th of 2022. He was way too close to that case. He refused to call AT&T and tell them to ping Chris's phone because he thought there was somebody at AT&T who was like the czar of pings, who was going to say, "Oh, well, we need to show immediate danger." When he had a warrant, he refused to ping the phone. And so he was subpoenaed.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm positive. You want to, I mean, open up the case file. Like, that's what happened. I'm positive that happened. It's literally in OCSO documents.
Okay.
I can get you the case number if you want.
You're referencing a case. You're referencing a case that was gone through the court system, and the prosecutor's office. If you're saying that, because here's the thing, I don't know the disposition on it. But from your own words,
active
charges got dropped.
No, they got that. Not the charges. Not the charges that you and like when you were physically in a room with Chris Coombes interviewing him with Detective Marchant, like that is one piece of the equation. But there are several of these.
What does that happen?
That case right now is active. I'm not.
Yeah, that is an active case.
It's an active case. That previously, the stuff that Terry Shrable worked on, those charges were dismissed.
Okay.
When Chris started introducing stuff written by Shrable, which is bullshit, read it. Read 04930 and tell me that a police officer wrote that. It's a farce. He breaks every rule in the book, and he'd been subpoenaed 4 times.
Well, yeah, every time it goes to court, he has to be subpoenaed. That's how our...
Yeah, dude, read that document. It's about a guy in Alaska.
Every officer that's listed on the case is subpoenaed.
04930 is a story about a man in Alaska named Craig Litkey. Craig Litkey did not call in a false threat.
For showing up on scene.
04930 is a report. When you read that report, it is about a man in Alaska named Craig Litkey who says mean things about this cult. I say mean things about this cult. That's why my name is in there too. This guy is literally doing the exact same thing that has been done many times before by Mark Bissett. And Christopher is just an extension of that. He is doing, I have recordings going back to 2017, 2014 of people telling this exact same story that Terry Shrable is telling in 04930. Like, that is just the company line. Why is a cop doing that? Why was he allowed to touch that case? Why? Like, he was subpoenaed right in the middle of it and kept investigating. He had Carrie Coombs' phone number, who he was supposed to be investigating, and never once called her. It's 22 fucking pages long. What is normal about that?
Well, it looked like he documented everything that he was being told that day.
You know what Beth does not have? Okanogan Records does not have any of those records that he was documenting. The Attorney General's office, I already talked to them in December. They've already called Beth. They've already talked to Beth about this. They don't know what happened to those records either, and that's the Attorney General of the state of Washington is wondering what's going on with Terry Shrable's records.
What records are you referring to?
Literally the last thing you told me was that he's documenting that he's doing this, right? Like, there are records. Like, yeah, well, there's not records because they were all deleted.
Well, no, I was sitting there reading the report.
And you told me there were documents in there. He's documenting it, right? Like, he's documenting all this while he's doing it, isn't he?
Okay, so so you're misinterpreting words, right? When I say documented is writing a report. You're documenting the information.
Okay, well,
right?
None of the records in that report exist.
He documented everything he was told.
Well, he didn't he deleted his documents is what he did next.
Well, the report's still there, so I mean...
Well, the fucking report's still there, cool. But he deleted everything else. He deleted all the documents that go into the report.
What else is there that you're talking about that was deleted?
Like, when he says, I was wearing a body cam and I recorded this. When he says there was a meeting at OCSO.
Okay.
When he says there were, like over and over again. When he says there were emails.
I'll tell you there was a meeting at the OCSO because...
Well, Beth said there's no records of it.
I happened to be leaving the parking lot the day that I saw all of them show up. So, I mean, I know they did meet here.
They did. I mean, we know that they did.
The body camera, I definitely can't answer the question for body camera. You'd have to talk to Beth about that.
Melissa Parker, who's in that report, she flew from New South Wales, Australia to Tonasket, Washington for that interview. That's insane.
Wow.
Would you fly to New South Wales, Australia to give information to some detective there, or would you just talk on the phone? I would just talk on the phone.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe she didn't have nothing else to do that day.
Yeah, maybe she didn't have anything else to do that day. That's probably right. She just flew from New South Wales, Australia.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Warner. Like, you're a reporter, right? And I understand that. But ultimately,
I'm a reporter whose name comes up over and over with OCSO.
I'm having to. The reason for reaching out to you today was specifically because of you saying that Chris had documents.
Yeah, Chris did say he had documents. It's in the report. You read the report again. It's pretty clear that Chris had documents he was not supposed to have. You wrote that report. Kim wrote that report. Marchant wrote that report. It's documented. That you're. What are you going to say about it then? What's your explanation?
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you, right? I'm trying to explain to you the context of that conversation, right? When he made that statement, then yes, it appeared odd that and my follow up for Marchand is determining what case he was referring to.
What number did Marchant call me on? Did you hear that? Do you know that Marchant called me from a number that is no longer connected?
Well, it's probably, if it was his office phone, it's not connected anymore because he no longer works.
It was a 422 number.
Yeah, probably extension.
I think Okanogan County is 509. I'm pretty sure.
No, I called you from a 422 number.
Well, okay. So anyway, he called me from a number. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't I don't have a whole lot of trust with Okanogan County. Like, I mean, but this stuff all needs to be documented.
Dude, I don't three times now that the reason why his phone number isn't working is because he's no longer employed here.
Oh, but you're talking about Marchant.
Number doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, Marchant. Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, the reality is like you need to spend some time with these documents because, like, it is abundantly clear. And the thing is like, I have supporting documents. There's a ton of evidence too that is like literally just sitting there in Alaska. Like, I have copies of a lot of this stuff, but like the organized crime happening in Okanogan County under your watch is because of Mark Wade Bissett. Christopher Coombes looks like he's about to sail down the river on a child rape case. And that's like the tip of the iceberg. Like, everything in those affidavits that does not come from Chris Coombes is true. Like, this is a true story. This is a real story. Read the email from Alaska. Like, that's the same kind of shit that's going on. You had detectives showing up to rescue children with a court order who turn their back on if Chris goes down, OCSO let this guy have little kids who are being raped in his possession. Like, I mean, this case just stinks. It stinks. Like, and you got to take it seriously because this information is going to come out one way or another. The Attorney General's office already knows this.
Okay.
And you're not taking it seriously.
I am taking it serious, and I understand your concerns. But
well, you're telling me, you just told me, you're like, this is supposed to be about...
In the case that you keep bringing up, I'm not going to discuss it with you because it's an active investigation.
Yeah, but the thing is that you're telling me you can't talk to, like you can't say anything about this. Like, I was wrong about these documents. So what? So Terry Shrable is innocent? No, like, Chris Coombes had information. He got it from the police. He got it from Terry Shrable.
I never said I was wrong about any documents.
You said I was wrong about it, not that you were wrong.
What I said was you misinterpreted what I was calling a document, what you're calling a document, and what I was calling it.
Maybe I misinterpreted the very unambiguous statements both you and Chant made. You guys both made unambiguous statements. He had information he wasn't supposed to have.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not going to try to talk over you, and I'm not going to have you talking over me.
I don't want to argue. But you're telling me things.
What I told you, what I was referring to is that Shrable documented that interaction that he had with Chris Coombes and whoever was at that meeting.
He wrote a report and he deleted all the documents from it.
And my deal of saying he documented it was I was referring to him writing the report. What you're referring to is actual documents. I don't know anything about those documents. I don't know anything in that report other than when you bringing up the body camera footage, which I don't know. That is something that records would have to confirm or deny whether.
Yeah, I already had this conversation. I've been talking to records forever.
But again, if you like, the main focus of my involvement today was from the email that was forwarded to me that where you were saying that Chris has documents regarding the 1961 case.
Yeah, and he as you and Marchant documented, as Rolling Stone knows, as the AG's office.
You're referring to my investigation that I sat in as a second with Detective Marchant when he interviewed Chris Coombes, and in that, what I'll say is if you're saying that Shrable gave him documents from that case.
He said he described things from those documents. Don't say that he gave him documents. That's not what I said. He described things from those documents that he should not have had access to. That's the official line, okay?
He didn't describe anything.
Then why did you make that note? Why did Marchant make that note?
I made that note because of the comment of that he didn't understand because he thought this had already been dismissed from the previous case.
Well, it hadn't. I mean, this is a totally different case. This has nothing to do. I mean, it has something to do with it.
And that's what Detective Marchant found out after that interview.
Is that it's a child rape case? Is what it is.
It had nothing to do. His comment wasn't regarding the forensic stuff.
His comment. Well, I mean, that's what you said. That's what Marchant said. The thing is that it doesn't matter what. You literally already wrote it. It's in the file. I already have the file. Rolling Stone has the file. The AG's office has the file. That's what you're not interpreting here. You don't want to be on the side of these folks. You want nothing to do with these people. I promise you want nothing to do with them. You want nothing to do with Terry Shrable. I promise.
I guess I'm not understanding what you're talking about.
I'm telling you that right now you have a choice to investigate or to not investigate. You do not want to be on the side of these people. I've seen it happen many times before. I've been doing this for 7.5 years.
You say that I'm not trying to do anything, but by calling you, that is what I.
Oh, you called me. Okay, great.
Documents that he had from 1961.
He had. You said it's already been said. It's literally already been said. He had documents he shouldn't have had.
If that is your basis,
from Spokane,
Detective Marchant,
Spokane is not in Okanogan County. Spokane is not in Okanogan County. Why has he got documents from Spokane?
How did where?
It's in the fucking report.
It's not in the report that he has documents from Spokane.
It is. Read the report again.
Okay. It's not in my report. That's what I'll tell you.
Okay. I gave you some report numbers. Are you going to read those reports?
I'm going to read the 1961 that has to deal with your email that you sent.
But you're not going to read 04930? You're not going to read 04. Are you telling me you're not going to read 04930? Tell me. Say it to me. Tell me you're not going to read 04930. Are you going to read it or are you not?
I'm not going to have you continue to talk over me.
Are you going to read
And
the
I'm not gonna
report
have you
or are you
yell
not?
at me. I'm not going to have you continue to yell at me. I'm trying to have a civil conversation with you.
I'm trying to have a civil
I'm trying to
conversation with you.
explain to
You
you
just told me you weren't going to read this police
that-
report.
That everything that you told me about the prior cases has already went through the judicial system.
That's not. I mean, that's not true because these cases are connected. They're absolutely. You want to tell me Chris Coombes versus Washington versus Chris Coombes is not related to Washington versus Chris Coombes? You are going to sit there and tell me that OCSO's investigation, the state of Washington versus Chris Coombes, has nothing to do with Chris. You're being insane.
Two separate cases.
Yeah, that happened to be the exact like one is about Christopher Coombes abusing children, and one is about Christopher Coombes abusing children.
One was, if I'm not
There's
mistaken,
fucking
one was
6
in reference
cases.
to a custody issue.
Yeah. And then the other one is him raping the child that was in his custody that OCSO let him keep in his custody.
2 separate charges.
There's a hell of a lot more than 2.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a hell of a lot more. 2 separate charges. Okay.
Okay. The only one that I'm involved in is the active case that's going on right now.
The active case. Well, that's a case. It like the court documents directly correspond when custodial interference, state of Washington versus Chris Coombes. I really hope you have access to those files that OCSO wrote that are in that case.
I won't testify against. I won't have to testify against those. The only one I have to testify.
I know it's that you don't have to testify. Who cares what you have to testify? I'm telling, like, this is a matter of a police office. This is like as fucking dark and corrupt as a story as I've ever heard in my life.
So far, this is the issue I have, Mr. Warner. So far, we've spent 40 minutes and 30 seconds
Cool.
on the phone at this point, and so far, other than
the police reports.
The police report where, at the time, Sergeant Shrable and Chris Coombes met here at the sheriff's office.
It's 22 pages. A woman flew from fucking Australia.
There was a lot to report.
A woman flew from New South Wales, Australia to interview Shrable, or to be interviewed by Shrable. Are you kidding me?
Is that illegal?
You know that he collaborated. You know, you're fucking in on the like this is outrageous.
All right.
You know it. You know it. You know that Shrable did this. You know that Shrable did this, and that's just going to be the record, is that you know.
Okay. I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Well, then read the fucking reports. I gave you the list of a number of reports. You want me to send you an email?
Okay. And
should I just send it to Detective Kim?
Nothing that you're telling me other than that Terry wrote 22 pages of what.
That's one report. It's not even close. That's the tip of the iceberg.
And here's the thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. I see guys that write 3 pages on a barking dog complaint because they really like to write.
He literally wrote 22 pages. What happens in that report?
I think somebody should write 8 paragraphs on a barking dog complaint. Absolutely.
Okay, there's a difference between playing devil's advocate and advocating for the devil.
Okay.
Which is what you're doing.
Okay, but here.
All right, Deputy Ray, see ya. Fuck you.
Is what